And we're back with Converge. I'm your host, Kathryn Mademann. And now we have William Fugate sitting in with us with JOToole, who's the executive director. We wanted to bring you in because there's some real interesting things that you're working on. But before we go there, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting me today, Kathryn. And John, kyo sasotte kurete arigato.
We're glad to have you here, William.
Sure. So, yeah, for the last 3 years, I've been here in South Carolina leading business development for SkyDrive. You were an eVTOL developer, so a flying car developer. And I've been working with them on basically building their business infrastructure here in South Carolina. And throughout that process, I really was able to kind of learn a lot about the state, working with the Department of Commerce and a lot of the stakeholders here at the airports, and obviously with JOToole. And so over the last few months, John and I have been talking about the idea of bringing more Japanese companies over to Beaufort and supporting them on their market entry. And yeah, so we're starting to, I'm starting a new role as a lead generator for the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation landing pad here. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, welcome.
Yeah.
But let's step back. Let's break that up a little bit because
Sure.
I always think about viewers and what they're interested in. So when you say a lead generator, what does that mean to us?
Sure. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of opportunity for Japanese companies in the South Carolina market. And so what I would be doing is going to Japan and meeting with Japanese companies to introduce them to opportunities that we have here in the state that we think would complement their value offering. And so the idea is to generate interest into the South Carolina market with a particular focus here on the Beaufort County Economic Development area.
But with your knowledge between the two countries, do you have a sense of what kind of businesses would be interested in coming this way from the Japanese market? What would the Lowcountry be special for?
Well, if you look at South Carolina right now, I think we're one of the fastest growing states in the United States. So our population is continuously growing. We're seeing a lot more infrastructure development. There's going to be a bigger demand on industry. And if you think about it, it's very similar to the same conditions and constraints that Japan has faced over the years. With, they have very limited space, they have very limited resources, at least the availability to resources, or being an island nation, are a lot less than what we would have. And so they've faced these same constraints, but they've not only faced them, they've overcame them in a very competitive way. Their strengths, their weaknesses, or their constraints became their strengths. And so we're seeing that here, the opportunity here with our infrastructure demands growing, that the Japanese companies could then take their technologies, so not technologies that are coming here to compete with local industry, but to bring over technologies that will complement local industry and help them become more efficient, more productive, and be able to meet our infrastructure demands in a more efficient way.
That's a lot. It's okay. So as I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm like, well, can you drill it down for me and give me a little bit more information for, like, what does that mean to us?
Sure. It's going to be a better trained workforce. We'll be able to do more with less, which is really important when you start looking at, we want to protect the ecosystem. One of the things that makes South Carolina such an attractive place to be is the natural beauty that we have surrounding us. So, as this infrastructure demand increases, we don't want to destroy that and remove the reason why it's such a beautiful place to live. So to be able to do more with less is a really important part of the state's goals of sustainability and keeping our ecosystem beautiful and thriving.
Right, exactly. Interesting. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I was just going to add, if I could, from my perspective, if you think of, and I have a little bias towards Toyota, but Toyota is like an international model for best practices in process improvement. And so if we really do trade with Japan, we would gain from its know-how, and they would gain from our know-how and product. So, oftentimes we think of trade as somebody coming to the Lowcountry and investing, but there can be services as well that, as we form that relationship, could actually result in investments. But initially, it could just be sharing of best practices or even consulting services. And so we think by showing value, it will eventually net some results for our area as well.
Wow, that's great. Is there so we're still in the infancy of creating this relationship? Are we still, or are we in this relationship? Are you bringing companies this way, or you have to go and sort of search them out in Japan?
Yeah, right now I think we're focused on, we want to be able to support these Japanese companies as they come over in the most effective way possible. So right now what we're doing is we're aligning the resources. So we're creating a curated network of resources and options available to Japanese companies when they come over, so that we can have we can provide them an end-to-end type of service where we can meet their needs. So right now we're in the area of just really identifying what value we can offer to the Japanese companies when they make their market entry, and then just being able to get that out to the in front of the right people.
Right. How interesting. John, I mean...
As we kick that off, one of the first companies that William brought here it provides services to Japanese companies and companies trying to communicate back in Japan. So they're looking at taking space in the landing pad. What's neat about them is they also do a co-working space model in Japan, similar in a lot of ways and maybe even more robust than our landing pad. So we'll learn from them there, and then their clientele is going to get the word here. And one thing I'll wind this back to, I remember probably 2 years ago, William and I were enjoying some barbecued ribs, and William said, boy, if Japanese companies only knew what you had here, I could think of a dozen we could get to come over here. So now we have that opportunity to have William pave that path and build those bridges.
Well, but on that note, I want to stop because we have to take a break, but I want to pick up and say what kind of companies would want to come to visit us. And we'll be right back with more Converge.